Season 4 build is upon us. Official season is getting ready to kick off. So, did iRacing fix dirt in this last build? We'll talk about it next. What's up, everybody? Thomas Brandon here. Thank you very much as always for joining me. And it's been a while. It's been quite a while since I put out a video. Now, really quick little house cleaning. The 202 challenge that I had started a while back was an epic failure. I didn't even come close. To make a very, very long story short, shortly after I started it, after the first couple of weeks, I've talked about before in a couple previous videos, my computer went down, crashed. I battled with it for a couple weeks, ended up having to do a clean install of Windows 10. I had to go from Windows 11 to Windows 10. Then shortly after that, I had a bunch of stuff that happened with my businesses, both this business and my glass business. Bunch of issues with taxes and corporate accounting and just nightmarish stuff that is not only a headache and boring, but stuff that you don't want to hear about because it sucks, it's boring. And then to cap it off, the last 3+ weeks I've been sick. I'm actually still not 100%. I think I got COVID. I don't know, I didn't do a test, but whatever it is, it's been kicking my butt for almost a month now. It's been over 3 weeks and it's still lingering. So that was an epic failure. We had to cancel the event and everything else. As you can see right behind me right there, that is a signed mini wing panel signed by Tyler Courtney, by Sunshine. My buddy Kyle got that for me. That was going to actually be the prize for the event that we did, but we had to cancel the event. So I'm going to be doing something with that here soon. So I will let you guys know about that. I'll probably just do a giveaway here on the YouTube channel. All right. So anyways, got that out the way. Let's talk about dirt. So as you know, dirt has been it's been a hotly debated topic for a very long time now. 2023, more than a year ago, we had the dirt refresh where we saw a bunch of changes that created a very polarized community where you had people who either loved it or hated it. There was a lot of stuff that was said by a lot of people. You had people saying, hey, can we just go back to how it was in 2018, 2019? Like that was some perfected, piece of artwork under glass that should never have been touched. Of course, we all know that's not the case, but regardless, it wasn't perfect. And then we've had changes over the last year or so, smaller changes, some to the tires, a couple little things. We saw some aero changes on the sprint cars and things like that. And now we just saw a change to the track surfaces in this last build. It's a very, very small change in terms of the notes, right? And we'll take a look at the notes here in a second. But the way the cars feel and how they drive, very, very different. I noticed a big difference. I actually data tested this in Motec to check the traction and grip levels of the track, and it has gone up. It's actually gone up a couple percentage points. So we're going to take a look at it. I'm going to kind of show you what's new with the track now, with the tracks now, if you haven't tried it out yet, and what I think of it. So let's head over to the sim, take a look. Okay, so if you look here on the notes for the Season 4 build, dirt racing, this was it right here. Water content parameters for racing dirt services have been updated slightly. This was, in my opinion, one of the bigger issues with dirt. So a lot of people have been talking about how the cars are broken and things like that. For me and the people that I've talked to who have real world experience, the biggest complaints that we've noticed or talked about has been the track surface itself. We've noticed that the track it's fastest when it's super greasy, right? It's not tacky. It's like, it looks slimy and greasy, and it's your fastest lap times. It's the most hooked up. Then you'll have lighter dirt, which should still be tacky, and then you've got they're almost like these phantom slick spots. Like you'll hit it and then all of a sudden it's like you're on black ice. And it's like, what the hell? Did I just hit slick? And you look and there's no slick, but it feels like it. So there was some weirdness with the tacky dirt. Also, with the sprint cars, for example, when you would be on a really tacky track, you would still have a lot of situations where you would have to kind of pedal the car. And I've talked about this before, where running the car, right, full throttle, getting to full throttle, being, wide open is not the same as what we used to call the old stab and steer, where basically you just held it wide open, turned left, right? Your track would be slicked off, but if you found that tiny little bit of grip up there at top, you just held it wide open and turned left. Those are two very different things, okay? If you watch GoPro footage, in-car footage, you'll see 410 sprint cars, big tracks. They're basically wide open. They might have small little breaths of the throttle, and they're using the brake to just wing the car over and get it to turn. And if you watch the footwork, it's just them pressing the brake. They're basically wide open, pressing the brake, the car's winging over, and that's how they're turning it. In iRacing, with the 410s, for example, you wouldn't really get that. And if you did get that, you were having to run a ton of wing angle. Now, we can talk about the wing angle and stuff like that, because there's been arguments I've heard people make, well, in real life, they're running more wing angle now, and well, that's because of the wicker bill, and whatever, okay? Those are completely different topics. If we just look at the sim itself, you would be running basically like 30 wing on a on a big track, on at a track like Charlotte, and then you could be full throttle. Otherwise, you would have to kind of pedal it, or you would hit those phantom slick spots, things like that. So that was kind of the stuff that had been happening over the last 8-9 months. And what we've got now, in my opinion, is much better. So let's head to the track here, and I'll show you what I mean. All right, now really quick, just to give you guys kind of an example, this is a GoPro in-car footage of Tanner Holmes. This is at Willamette Speedway. Willamette Speedway is a 1/3 of a mile track, so this would be like a track like the size of Peevely, okay? And this is a 410 sprint car, all right? You come out, you can see the track up here. It's a tacky track. Now he's getting up to speed, but watch here. You can see his right foot. He's just barely lifting when he does lift. You can see here he's pushing the brake to wing the car over, but essentially he's full throttle, all right, using just a little bit of brake to turn the car. And you can see this thing's hooked up, and also notice his hands with the wheel, right? He's not just turning left. He's counter steering, right? What we would call locked right, or 90 right is what we used to call it. I don't know what they call it now, but you can see he's really working the wheel a lot, all right? And that is something that we haven't had that in iRacing. We just haven't, okay? So when we go to the track here, I'll show you exactly why it is better now, okay? It's still not what you saw in that video, but it is definitely better now. All right, so I've got the iRacing setup here. We're at Oswego Dirt. I just used a generated track based off the official schedule, and it gave me 8%, okay? And I got the qual set up here, and I just put 7 or 8 gallons of fuel and 7 gallons of fuel, and I didn't touch anything else. I took the steering offset out because I don't like that. But other than that, it's just the iRacing setup, okay? And you'll notice now, when you go out, if you drove a lot the previous season, you're going to notice the car definitely feels like it's got more grip. The track, it just feels like it's in the track more to me. There's also a lot more texture. You're going to notice that the bumps stay around much more than they used to. But notice, you're going to work the wheel a whole lot more. The car is going to drive itself more. That is something else I've noticed. Big bumps there. But you can see you're basically on throttle, right? And you can drive. I used just a little bit of brake to set the car. You can do it without brake. There was also times when I was testing this week for the insider program, and it was like a 20% track where you could get to the bottom. The track was slicking off a little bit. You could get to the bottom, you could pedal it just a little bit. You didn't have to, it's like you were lifting off completely. There was still good grip there. The car was gripped up as it should be on a tacky track, and you could really accelerate off the corner and have good drive. So that is something that has been a huge improvement in my opinion with this. I don't know how much they changed the water content, but I can tell you right now, on a tacky track, it's definitely got more grip across the board. I did testing with this the day before the build, went out, 0% tracks, completely clean tracks. I did Charlotte, Peevely, Kokomo, and Eldora. And I did 360s, 410s, dirt midgets, late models, super late models, and pro late models. Ran them all, same exact setup after the build. Same exact track state, static weather, everything exactly the same, and saw almost a 2% increase in traction across the board in my Motec telemetry. Now, keep in mind, my data is my data. It's not, I don't know what iRacing's grip levels are, right? But in terms of what I saw, that's significant. Keep in mind, if I would see a 0.5% change in my data, that's a big change, when I would be when I would be testing and making adjustments and things like that. So to see it jump up 2 to 3%, that's a significant change. And if you drive the dirt now, if you drove it last season, you're going to notice a much more improved grip level, in my opinion. And also with them improving the shader texture quality, which was one of the graphics things, the track seems to look better as well. It definitely seems more noticeable in terms of the grooves and stuff like that, which we'll take a look at next. All right, so now I've got the 410 Sprint here. We're at Eldora, 100% track. We just got the iRacing setup. I just took the steering offset out of it. I think I might have moved the wing. Yeah, I moved the wing to 25 and then moved it forward. It was at 23 and back, but regardless, you'll notice now with the track textures, or at least I did, and I've got 2K monitors, so maybe my shaders are just a little bit better, but I have heard from other people the same thing, that they've noticed the track lines, they've noticed the difference in the dirt much better, especially with where the good dirt is, the bad dirt is. This is obviously an extreme example, but more importantly, you'll also notice a difference in the grip level now between the slick and the tacky. So if we come up here to the top, you can see it's a little bumpy up there when you get super high, but you can drive it up there. You're not hitting those phantom slick spots. Now this is, once again, this is pre-gen, so when you have the dynamic track, that might be a little bit different. But in the races and sessions that I've done so far, I did not notice the phantom slick that we would see before. And another thing that I noticed is now when you go to the slick, right, I'm having to pedal it, and we can go through it, but it's not like it was before. So if you remember a while ago, the slick was too gripped up, right? Where you could go through the middle of the slick, and there was times where you could run like 75% throttle. That's too much grip. Then we had it to where you would hit the slick and it was like black ice, right? You would hit it and you would be half throttle, and it was just all of a sudden the car was just snapping loose. I feel like now, in relation to the tacky dirt, the slick seems about right. When I used to race, and keep in mind, I never raced sprint cars, but when I was racing, outlaw karts, the difference between the tacky and the slick, it was never a matter of like a loss of control. It was wheel spin. And the people that I've talked to who have raced sprint cars and stuff, that's what they talk about, is the wheel spin. It's not so much the car just snapping loose and wanting to spin on you, it's wheel spin. Yes, there is an element of that where the car can start to get out of whack, but It's more about the wheel spin, and I think now it seems to be a much better representation of that, where yes, you can still control the car. You don't have to worry about hitting slick and then, the car snapping and you piling into somebody, but you're going to spin your tires, and that's the main thing. And with cars like this sprint car, it's all about keeping them straight, maintaining momentum. That's what, you watch sprint car racing, they're trying to keep the car as straight as possible with much momentum as possible. And I feel like now, with these little changes that we've got, it definitely feels better than what we had. The car doesn't feel lifeless. The track seems to maintain the characteristics of it better. If we had a bumpy track at the start, the bumps would go away as the track slicked off. I've noticed the bumps seem to stick around more. You can work the wheel. It doesn't feel like the front end's got too much grip like it felt before. And you can still run multiple lines. And the car feels good. It doesn't seem like, see, like that line there, before, if I had gotten just a little too high, it wasn't like I would spin the wheels. The car would snap loose, and I don't feel that like we used to. And I'm doing it with much less wing angle than I would be running before. It used to be, when we'd have a league race and we would have the track like this, like, dude, you were running 30 wing. Like, that's what you were running. Not the case no more. And in the 360s, we would be running super tall gears. Like, we'd run like a 509 or a 504 at a track like Charlotte, where now, because the track is more gripped up and you can actually control it more with the throttle, you can run that shorter gear, get more RPMs like you would in real life in a 360, and you're not just buzzing off the tires. You're not doing what we've done forever in the 410, right, where you just 486 everywhere. Like, you actually have the range back with the gear ratios a little bit more in the 360s, I feel like. Also, I've noticed the same thing with the late models, the big blocks, and the midgets, and the UMPs. All the cars on dirt feel better, with the exceptions of Legends and Street Stocks, because I don't drive those. I don't know what they feel like. I don't drive them. But all the other dirt cars definitely feel better with this. And even though it's a small change, I think it's a good one and definitely in the right direction, which is what all of us on the dirt side want. All right, you guys, so that's going to do it all for this video. I just wanted to give you guys kind of a quick run down my thoughts on dirt now after this build and these changes. Like I said, I think it's a step in the right direction. The people that I've talked to also feel that it's a step in the right direction. So go out, run it, see what you think, until we actually have more race servers, though, and we get into these race servers and actually get to run against other people in the officials and see in league races and see what it's like. We're not going to know for sure, but right now it does feel like it's a step in the right direction. It does feel better than what we had last season, which to me is a good thing. One of the things that I think is really unfair when we look at dirt, and it's something to me that has to be accounted for, because I never hear the argument, but we'll hear people complain about the track. The track is too one groove, or it doesn't slick off enough to have multi-groove racing, or the bottom's too fast, or the top's too fast, or this is too tacky. And the thing that you have to remember is, you look at it like the World of Outlaws or high limit sprint cars or whatever, right? Lucas Oil late models, right? Pick your national tour, and they'll go out and they'll rework the track. They don't do like a complete rework, but they'll add water or something like that, and the track will start off tacky, and then it's slicked off, halfway through the race, and you've got guys going everywhere, even early on in the race when it's tacky. The thing that you have to realize is the biggest contributing factor for the multi-groove racing, multiple lines that we see in late models and sprint cars is dirty air, and we don't have that in iRacing. One of the reasons you see these guys, running different lines, right? The leader might be running the bottom, so you'll see someone else running the top, or a slider, or some other crazy line. It's not because the track's so multi-groove. It's because they're just trying to get air. The dirty air aspect in sprint car racing and late model racing is so prevalent right now. It causes those multiple groups or causes you to search for air. Air is more important than the actual real estate, right? Like those cars have become so aero dependent. That's how the wing sprint cars are now. Watch these guys. It's all about getting air so they can get that thing to wing over and stick the left rear. And we don't have that in iRacing. iRacing, our aero, it's like every car's got their own little aerodynamic bubble around it, right? The cars around you don't affect it. And so that allows us to just follow and be in a groove, right? When you find that fast line, you're just going to keep hitting it over and over and over again because that's the fast line. The air in front of it, that's not affecting you. Where if we had something like dirty air, it would cause you to search for different grooves and search for different lines. Now, does that mean we need dirty air? I mean, if we're wanting this to be the most accurate sim, eventually, yes. You know, is iRacing going to do that and work on? I have no idea. I know we have dirty air on the NASCAR side of things, and it's incredible. It's one of the coolest aspects there is. As much as it sucks when you lose the air, especially like the next gen car, and all of a sudden the thing's pushing to the wall, and you're just hoping it's gonna not run into it. It's one of those things that makes it fun, though, and it makes it a challenge. And so, yes, I would love to see that on the late model side and on the sprint car side. Will we ever get to that? I don't know. But that is something that we need to consider when we make these arguments, right? When we start saying, well, hey, this is 2-1 groove, or hey, this isn't happening, or this doesn't happen. Well, you know, remember there are certain aspects of real life that we just don't have in the sim right now. And the dirty air aspect is a big one. So, you know, I'm not trying to defend iRacing or anything like that. I've been very open in the past before about things that I thought were wrong, right? So, you know, in iRacing, they don't know me, okay? So it's just, I'm just sharing, you know, stuff that I've seen and you know, noticed. So anyways, I just wanted to kind of make that point before wrapping things up here. But yeah, you guys, that's my thoughts on it. I think it's a step in the right direction. Get out there, run some races, see what you think. Hopefully you feel the same way, and hopefully we'll see, you know, dirt start growing back again, and we'll start seeing, you know, better server count or car counts and servers. You know, we've seen a big resurgence with the dirt midgets. I think the dirt midgets are really, really good right now. The UMP modifieds are another one that I think are really good right now. And I do think the sprint cars and the late models are, especially after this last build, getting even better. So hopefully you feel the same way, and I'll see you out there on the track. But yeah, you guys, that'll do it. Thank you very much. You know, if you like this, you know what to do. If you don't like it, you know what to do. If you have not already subscribed, please subscribe. Keep an eye out for my next video. I will, like I said, be doing probably a giveaway. I'll just do a giveaway for this wing panel back here, since we didn't do the event. And, you know, that way we can do something cool with it. And I'm still doing the donations to the charity and stuff like that. We just didn't do all the races, so I have to calculate my results for it, because yeah, like I said, that was an epic failure. So anyways, but keep an eye out for that, because like I said, I'll be doing a giveaway for that here probably in the next week or two. I'll be doing the video to announce it. How I'm going to exactly do it, I'm not quite sure, but we'll probably just do one here on the YouTube channel, so that way it keeps it simple, makes it fun, and yeah, someone will get a really cool signed Tyler Courtney you know, mini wing pan. But thank you guys very much as always. If you like this, or if you want to see any more of the stuff that we got going on at School of Sim Racing, head on over to the website, schoolofsimracing.net. Make sure to click the button, join community. I'll get you access to all of our stuff, the Discord channel, the Facebook page, everything like that. Although I have not been around that much over the last, you know, 6, 8, 10 weeks, we do have a lot of stuff that's happening right now behind the scenes. We got a big league series thing coming up. My man Bruce has been working on a new website and stuff, so we do have a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes, although I haven't been front and center on a lot of this. So we do have some cool stuff coming, so make sure that you check that out. But that'll do it. Thank you very much as always, and until next time, I want to wish you good luck, good racing, take care.